Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Cricbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
It's the end of the year and time to look back at the big events of 2021. I think the biggest event of 2021 was actually the amount of cricket we got after what all that happened in 2020. Yes, tours did get cancelled. Yes, people were wary. There was lots of quarantine. There was lots of lockdown, but we got a lot of cricket. And I think that was the biggest event of 2021. Now, that apart, I've picked my 5 favorite events of 21. There were so many, so I've picked another 5. I'll start with the other 5 first. Okay, let's go. I enjoyed the fact that India were finally able to stop Australia's winning streak in women's cricket. Australia taking the game somewhere else, just going off on another level, and India broke that streak. There was 100 there for Smriti Mandhana. But I love the fact that Jhulan Goswami was there at the end. Mithali and Jhulan have been just sensational for Indian cricket. And that was further proof that the Indians women's game is just headed in a fantastic direction. One of my biggest disappointments for 2021 is that India hasn't announced a full-fledged women's IPL yet. And talking of women's cricket, what about Natakam Chanta? Not just that sensational fielding, but I think that was one of the events of 2021, but she's a brilliant fielder, and the whole story around Thailand cricket, the highs, the tremendous disappointment of the calling off of the qualifiers in Zimbabwe, but Thailand cricket is one of the stories of our sports. That was something I enjoyed in 2021. Then, of course, there was Akila Dhananjaya, a strange match. Picks up a hat-trick, then Pollard comes and hits him for 6 sixes. Strange figures, a hat-trick and 6 sixes against him, all in the same game. That doesn't happen too often. If this was an India-centric blog, and there is one in this series, but if this was an India-centric blog, I would have had CSK winning the IPL again, back from the ruins of 2020 to come back and win as my number 2 moment. But this is events around the world, but this was a huge event, as indeed was the start of the 100. I found it incredible that at the heart of their test match season, England planted the 100 and promoted it like there was nothing else. And I just started to wonder, in the home of test match cricket, is test match cricket now threatened? If that happens, we're all in trouble. Are England only going to play first class cricket before and after, slink in the test match cricket alongside T20 cricket? I don't know. So there's a lot of drama in English cricket going on. And of course, there was the whole Pakistan story. Our game needs people to travel everywhere to go and play. It was fantastic that teams went back to Pakistan to play. Yes, I know some teams pulled out at the last minute. I actually think that was a blessing in disguise for Pakistan. And then they had that fantastic run, then heartbreak. But the whole story of Pakistan cricket in 2021 with Babar and Rizwan and the T20 World Cup and teams going there had to be one of the events. So that was my alternate 5. You must be wondering if that's the alternate 5. What is the big 5? At number 5 on my list is the retirement of AB de Villiers and DJ Bravo from international cricket. I've often said, and people have wondered what I'm on about when I say he was a true successor to Brian Lara, simply for his extraordinary talent, wonderful gifts, mercurial nature, ability to finish games that everyone else thinks is over, and just having you on the edge of your seat with the most breathtaking shots imaginable. AB de Villiers across formats, his numbers were just incredible, but he brought a lot of joy when AB de Villiers batting, you were there. So too with Dwayne Bravo. What a career he's had, and he'll go down as among the greats, especially in T20 cricket. So goodbye to AB de Villiers and DJ Bravo, maybe even Chris Gayle, who just stands apart as the greatest T20 cricketer there's been. 14,000 plus runs, 1,000 plus sixes, a century in 30 balls, 175 in 66 balls. He was just the greatest, and something tells me that we're not seeing him too much more either. So that was number 5 for me. Number 4 was the final of the World Test Championship and the fact that New Zealand won it. I didn't quite like the idea of just plonking one test match without any real build-up between two sides in a third country. As it turned out, there was inclement weather. So I didn't like that idea very much, I must admit, but we are searching desperately for context for test match cricket, and that we got to the final of the World Test Championship was quite fantastic. But then this is not about WTC as much as it is about New Zealand cricket. finalists at the 50-over World Cup, it's almost winners of the 50-over World Cup, finalists at the 20-over World Cup, winners of the first World Test Championship. Wow, New Zealand, you're one of the stars of the game. Well done. And I thought New Zealand, wow, just stop what you're doing, admire New Zealand cricket. So that was number 4. Number 3 came at the start of the year. It was a test match in Chattogram. Now, visiting teams don't go and win too much in Bangladesh on those pitches. The West Indies, not the greatest of test sides, certainly not while traveling. They're 170 behind on the first innings. They said 394 to win in the 4th innings. In Bangladesh, in Chattogram especially, you don't get those. I know Shakib's not bowling, but there's enough power there. And West Indies are 59 for 3. Then Kyle Myers comes out to join in Nkrumah Bonner. And they put on 216. Myers makes 210. I don't think he'll ever have an event like that in his life again. But even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. He's produced one of the great test match innings of all time. And the West Indies chased it down. They've got this thing about chasing down impossible totals from time to time. But Nkrumah Bonner and especially Kyle Myers were my number 3 moment of the year. Number 2 had to be Ajaz Patel. I mean, what a story it is. Just someone as an 8-year-old goes, struggles and struggles. The whole family tries to find its feet in New Zealand, gets there. He's sort of medium height, a little tubby, bowling left arm spin in New Zealand. He's got no right. He's got no chance of becoming the player that he eventually became. But look at the persistence. He comes to Mumbai and picks up all 10. I thought it was one of the most beautiful moments that Ajaz Patel not only picked up all 10, but that India stood and celebrated a fantastic achievement. The people he got 10 against showed their respect for Ajaz Patel. 10, only the 3rd time in history. So Ajaz Patel's 10 wickets is my number 2 moment. There's very little to match number 1. What happened in Brisbane at the start of the year, India versus Australia in that test match, or rather Australia versus India home series, remember? And India had no business to compete in that test match, let alone go out to win it after what happened in Sydney. Anybody who's available is put on the park. There's virtually no bowling. And then everybody rises. That was a storybook finish. There's Shubman Gill, Rishabh Pant, Pujara's hanging in there, Washington Sundar, Shardul Thakur. Just look at all the experience between them and you'll say, what did I just see? It will go down as one of the great moments, not just of 2021, but as long as Test cricket is thought of. So there you are. My number 1 moment was India winning that test match in Brisbane. But as I said right at the start, the fact that we got as much cricket as we did in 2021 was the real celebration.